Night, a Democratic congressman tweeted this: "If intel report is true, it would be the most treacherous and criminal act in U.S. political history. Congress must investigate immediately." And joining us now is Jonathan Alter, MSNBC political analyst and columnist for the Daily Beast. And back with us is E.J. Dionne. All right, well, I'm going to start with you on this, Jonathan, because it's all over Twitter and social media. I mean, we're not getting into the details. Clearly, we're doing the cable news version of it, but the more crass version is everywhere now.
Yeah.
How do you inaugurate a president who is now this, at least, sort of compromised in terms of his dignity going into his inauguration day?
Well, he's just going to say tomorrow in his press conference it's a big witch hunt. Which
you think he's going to do the press conference?
Yeah, I don't think he'll. I think it would be very damaging for him to cancel.
Okay.
At this point, it would be sort of admitting that there's something there. But what's so strange about this story is it's either, as that congressman tweeted, one of the biggest stories in American political history.
Yep.
That an incoming president of the United States has been compromised by Russian agents, or it's the Hitler diaries. Total fake, as Trump is saying. There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
You know, either the story's true, and we're going to find out eventually, because as the president indicated tonight, reality has a way of catching up, right? So what you're going to see now is a huge amount of investigative reporting on all this. You are going to see congressional hearings. John McCain is insisting on it, rightly, I think. And we could have a situation that's not that different from 1972 and 73. So all these things happened with Watergate in the 72 campaign.
Right.
It didn't start to come out until 1973, and then they had those big Watergate hearings in the summer of 73, and by 74 the president had to resign.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen with Trump.
Sure.
But we could have all of our attention just consumed in the next 6 months with what plays out from this story.
And EJ, this takes place amid the backdrop. This is not something that's being said about a politician where there is no information that even could theoretically corroborate that he could be such a person. But you have a guy, you've got the Access Hollywood tape, you've got sort of vulgarity as his stock and trade in a lot of ways. It didn't stop him from getting elected, obviously. But you also have this fixation with being on Russia's side and with giving Russia a pass. Just this past Saturday, after he'd had his intelligence briefing, which presumably included this, Trump tweets out, having a good relationship with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. Only stupid people or fools would think that it is bad. Isn't that the problem here, that Donald Trump has sort of set himself up to at least, I don't know, tell me what you think.
We have, we meaning a lot of us, have looked around and wondered, why is it that Donald Trump says so many nice things about Vladimir Putin so consistently? Why has he been so reluctant to criticize him in any way? And you showed that tape earlier. It wasn't the Russians who did this hacking. Have been some 400-pound guy on a bed. I mean, he has sort of created a question in our heads: why is he like this toward Russia? Well, this information, which we don't know how true it is or what's there yet, but this is a plausible kind of explanation. And I think what we've got here are two baskets of things, each of which is very troubling. Basket one is that the Trump campaign was actively cooperating with Russia to defeat Hillary Clinton. Now, if that's true, that would lead to that impeachment scenario that Jonathan laid out. And then the other thing is all this ugly, compromising information that the Russians, again, allegedly have on him. These are two big deals. And I think the real test here will be not so much how John McCain reacts, because, as Jonathan said, he's already out there on this. He wants an investigation. But with this new information, do mainstream leadership Republicans say, wait a minute, do we have to be careful about getting too close to this guy, or is this going to be a problem down the road? Which is why we really need this investigated very quickly to know what exactly is going on here.
Yeah, I mean, you begin to wonder, Jonathan, what is the threshold at which Republicans stop deciding to follow Donald Trump down any path? He is now in the Quinnipiac poll at a 37% approval rating. That's like a governor in his third term, and he's having a bad 3 years, right? I mean, at what point do
that's the lowest in modern polling history for an incoming president.
Yeah.
Whereas President Obama is at 57%, which is toward the upper end of presidents when they're leaving office. So
so what do you think is the threshold where Republicans finally say, we're not just going to follow this guy around anymore?
There's been some stories in recent days that a lot of Trump voters don't care about the Russia story. When that starts to change, if it starts to change, if you start to see people going, you know what, I didn't initially believe this stuff, but from what I've seen in these congressional hearings, which will be televised because they're juicy, you know, it could be that when Peoria, as they used to say during Watergate, changes its mind, when some of these communities in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania that went for Trump, when reporters go out there and find out that people